Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, A Neighbor's Flora Issue with a Twist. VA, since we bought this house, we have had an issue with Virginia creeper vines coming through the chain link fence that divides our property from our neighbors. In the beginning it was a minor annoyance, but as the plant has grown and spread on their side of the fence, this has become a big problem. The vines spread from trunks some 3 to 4 inches in diameter through the fence and across our garden, children's play structures, shrubs and trees. In addition, this horrible vine sent off shoots through its root structure, and they can pop up anywhere and everywhere. In the beginning we were able to stay ahead of it by trimming every week. That is no longer possible. I am at my wit's end with this stuff and have called a professional to come out and give me an estimate for its removal. He said that it would be pointless to pay him because unless the problem is remedied on the neighbor's site where it originates, it will be back almost immediately. Compounding the problem is the fact that my neighbor is an agency of the federal government, and because of the way our property lines are drawn, their facility surrounds my home on 3 sides. Is there any law that says that a neighbor has to keep their plants on their side of the fence? And if so, would that apply to a federal facility? And a user in the comments said, have you tried speaking to an employee of the agency? A facilities manager or groundskeeper? You have not mentioned any attempt at requesting they remove it. Quite often, the easiest route is to request that the agency remove the vines as it is posing an inconvenience. If they don't seem responsive to that, offer to pay for a service to come remove it for them. Companies are generally much more receptive to changes from neighbors if the neighbors foot the cost. Unless the vine has some sort of value, aesthetically, security, property value, etc. to the company, I don't see why they would have a problem with you paying someone to dig up a vine on the edge of their property. To answer your question though, I have not been able to find anything related to vine encroachment. The closest thing I found is about tree trimming, which I guess you could argue is similar. And another person said, this might sound weird, but it is a federal facility. They usually list a general phone number for the facility online. Go to the agency's website and try and find the location and the general number for the building. You can probably get a hold of a facility manager there. And another user said, not a lawyer, but I have managed properties leased to the GSA and occupied by different federal agencies. Your facility's ownership structure is different, but maybe you will find some parallels. In my experience, it is common to have office or facilities managers working for the occupying agency who are not legally authorized to incur costs on behalf of the federal government. In my case, the GSA contracting officer, and in some cases the GSA contracting officer's representative, were the only people with the legal authority to incur costs to get things done on the property. Even agency heads could only put pressure on the GSA, not pay for real estate related costs from their own budgets. I have seen some of these individuals know they cannot authorize cost and say, it cannot be done, when in fact it can be done if you find and talk to the person who can authorize costs. I have also seen people who think they can authorize costs say, go ahead and do it, and then the resulting bill doesn't get paid because that person did not have the authority to incur the cost. If you start talking to someone about paying for weed management, making certain that individual has the authority to incur costs can save you a very expensive headache down the road. And guys, I'm wondering, in case you have property, did you ever have to deal with any vines from your neighbor? And if so, how did you get rid of them? Let us know in the comments. Update to the vine story. I wanted to let everyone know how this was resolved. I walked over to the facility with my baby in a stroller for added non-threatening-ness and explained to the federal policeman at the gate that I was a neighbor and wanted to speak with someone in facilities management or the head of groundskeeping. After showing my ID, I was escorted inside, about half a mile inside the gates, to a building where the head of the LEO's office was. While waiting for him, the officers asked if I was the one with the German Shepherd, and they all discussed what a nice dog he is and how much they enjoy seeing him every day. The head LEO came out, and after he asked if I was the one with the awesome German Shepherd and telling me how much he loved him, I explained the problem to him. Honestly, he was lovely. He walked with us over to the area where their property borders mine and called the head of facility maintenance once he saw how extensive the problem was. I had been away on vacation for a week before this, so the overgrowth was kind of staggering. He called facilities management and spoke for a bit. Then I heard him ask the man to meet us at the spot and explain to me what he had said. When he got off the phone, he said that the facilities manager said something about there being an invisible line, and that even though it was on the other side of the fence, we actually owned the land 5 feet on their side, so it was our problem. I assumed he was talking about some kind of easement. He said the FM was looking up the code and he could bring it to show me and explain. I don't actually think this is true, by the way, because we recently found out that a very small piece of our property is not ours. It is about 5 feet square and was titled to an elderly woman who apparently died 5 to 6 years ago and stopped paying the taxes. That 5 foot square abuts the fence, and I think the county would have mentioned it when they told me about the taxes on the square. I guess he couldn't find it because the FM and his assistant showed up and immediately said not to worry about it, that they wanted to be good neighbors and would talk to the arborist and get back to me Tuesday with a plan. That was Friday morning. On Monday morning at 7 AM, a whole team of groundskeepers were on the other side of my fence with chainsaws, weed whackers and ladders. I am sure it will be back, but the FM gave me his contact info and said just to let him know if it gets out of hand again. Oh, and the best part was my husband thanking me for not listening to him when he said they wouldn't talk to me. Thank you for giving me the kick in the butt I needed to approach them and ask. ETA, I asked if the GSA actually owned the property. A couple people asked, and they do. And guys, I would say this is pretty close to tree law, but maybe it is more like vine law? I'm not exactly sure. But if you enjoy my content, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments. And also like the video if you would like to support me. Thank you so much in advance, your help means the world to me and it really makes a difference for my channel. Thank you so much. And the next one is titled Texas. Car repoed 7 months later due to previous owner's title loan. What should I do? This happened in Texas. In September 2016, I helped my son purchase a used vehicle from a private seller on a Saturday. The title showed a satisfied lien. By that I mean there was a signature on it in the appropriate place, releasing the lien. The vehicle needed some work before it would pass inspection, so we took care of that, and then about 2 weeks later we took it to our county's DMV office to register it. The clerk accepted the title, the bill of sale I had drawn up and the state-specific form where the seller attests to the sale price of the vehicle. After paying the license and registration fees, we left that office with new plates and a registration sticker for the window. Then, just today, 7 months later, it gets repossessed by a local title loan company. This happened towards the end of the business day. To clarify, we initially thought it was stolen, did not see the repossession happen, and so our ability to get answers from the repossessor was limited. We should get a call tomorrow with more details. All we know at this point is that it is claimed that there was an outstanding lien on the vehicle by a title loan company, and it seems rather likely that the vehicle was sold to us fraudulently. Thankfully, I've never dealt with this type of thing before, but that also means I don't really have much clue as to what I should do next. Obviously, I need more info from the title loan people. It feels like this should be reported by us as a crime, or is it a civil matter? What should my next steps be? Epilogue. In hindsight, I think my greatest mistake was purchasing a vehicle from a non-dealer on a weekend. From now on, I will insist on transacting such business at the DMV office, but even that wouldn't have helped us in this case. because the DMV's computer did not show the vehicle as having an existing lien either. Update, I just checked the NMVTIS database, and by the way, sorry, I'm not really sure what that means. It shows no liens for this VIN. And a user in the comments said, "You're getting a lot of runaround, you should do 3 things. Call the title loan place, it's possible this was a mistake, but even if they have a lien, they may not want the complication of dealing with this. Call the DMV, again, it is possible the seller double dipped and got the title lien the same day you registered the car and it just missed being caught, but with modern systems that is less likely. It could also be a car with a similar VIN got cross-listed as yours. Call your homeowners and auto insurance. Some homeowners policies will cover something like this and your auto insurance may provide a rental or coverage as well. If it does turn out that they have a valid lien entered before you took possession of the title at the DMV, then you will have to sue the seller for the price of the vehicle." And another person in the comments said, "I don't think your last line is necessarily the case. I am not a lawyer though. I know that in many cases if you buy something in good faith with the understanding that it is free and clear, it is yours. You see something similar when you have people selling rent to own or lease property. The buyer retains the property. The seller gets to contend with the lease, title, lender company and a nice little criminal theft charge." And another person in the comments said, "I watch a repo man on YouTube who talked about something like this. A different repo company had spotted a car they were looking for, did a curious glance at the VIN and then hooked and towed. Unfortunately, they misread the VIN in their haste to get a car they had been after for a while. Called in the car as a repo so the local police wouldn't come and all was good. Until the bank went to inspect the property and found it not to be the car they were supposed to have back. Cue the bank coughing up reversal tow fees to get the car back to the real owners, paying for damage that got caused when a tire hit a curb wrong. Dang, the prices on aluminum wheels. Paid a fee for the real owners to not sue for theft as well as a few other things. So I hope that this was just a misunderstanding and everything goes right for you and your kiddo in the end." And guys, please correct me if I'm wrong, but every now and then in the comments I definitely see a few people that love these repo stories. What do you think about those? Do you think this is an interesting topic? Let us know in the comments. Update to the repo story. We got our repoed car back today. I am happy to report that we got it back a few hours ago in no small part due to an intrepid DMV clerk who took the matter personally. We showed up this morning at our local office to obtain the full title history for the file we were putting together for an eventual attorney. After we explained the problem and after reviewing the records himself, Mr. DMV asked if we had contact info for the title loan company. Somewhat bewildered, I gave him their phone number. He called and told them they had technically stolen our car and needed to return it to us. I could only make out this end of the conversation, but the person on the other end of the call got noticeably louder after that statement. The call ended with the other end yelling and hanging up on Mr. DMV. We left with our certified title history and a few hours later we got a call asking us where we would like the vehicle delivered. So how did this all happen in the first place, you ask? As best as I can reconstruct from the title history, first, the previous owner PO put the title up as collateral for a loan 6 years ago and paid that off 5 years ago. Subsequently, the title loan company TLZ signed the lien release portion of the original title OT and gave it back to PO. That OT ended up being the one that PO surrendered to my son last year when he bought the car for cash. My son then himself surrendered it to the DMV when he registered the car in his name, and our DMV then sent us a free and clear new original title NOT. Which is, by the way, the one that made it clear to the DMV clerk today that my son was the current lawful owner. Number 3, 4 years ago TLC sends in an application for certified copy of title AOCCT. The best fit explanation I can think of is that they possibly forgot to expunge their records of PO's paid off loan and assumed they had misplaced the title. In fact, I am reasonably certain that is what happened because their AOCCT referenced the title document of the OT that the PO gave my son. Number 4. Now in 2017 it appears that someone at TLZ found that dusty CCT behind a desk or something and decided it must certainly still be their property, and therefore they naturally must go retrieve it from whomever and wherever ASAP. But their CCT is now void because our free and clear NOT supersedes it. Unfrickin' believable. A repo story with a happy ending, what more could you wish for? And the last one is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to sell my rental properties at my fiance's request? Throwaway because you know, 2 years ago I, 36 male, proposed to my fiance, 30 female, and our wedding is going to be this coming summer. When we met, we both owned properties. She owned a pretty typical luxury townhouse and I owned 2 properties in the inner city. We both agreed that when it was time to cohabitate, we would live in her condo. I own an old 2-up 2-down duplex in a neighborhood that is butts right up against an old industrial area, which I was living in until we moved together, and on the next block I also own a 4,000 square feet concrete block industrial building. I got them as part of a screaming package deal about 12 years ago when you couldn't give property away in that neighborhood. I now rent the duplex to a couple of Hispanic families, and God, I hope they never leave me, best renters ever, and I rent half of the factory building to a guy who does HVAC and the other half to some microbrewery hipsters. The powers of gentrification have been at work in this hood for about half the time I've owned these places, and I am making a lot of bucks on these rentals. I could lose my job tomorrow and not even blink. My fiance does not see it this way though. Ever since we moved in together, she has been pestering me to sell the places. It's been ramping up the closer we get to the wedding. I keep telling her that as long as I own these places, it is a practically guaranteed third source of income and would be invaluable if either of us hit a rough patch job-wise. She does not see it that way though. All she sees is a potential big pile of liquid cash that can go towards wedding, honeymoon and upgrades to the living situation after. We had the biggest blow up yet about it last Saturday and I kind of lost it. I'm a saver and she's a spender, and I said that to her in far less pleasant terms and also mentioned the amount of credit card debt she has, and since then things have been pretty frosty. Am I the a-hole for refusing to sell my second income? And guys, I would love to know, what do you think about this story? Is OP the a-hole for essentially being good at handling money, or is he not? Let us know what you think in the comments, but a person in the comments said, not the a-hole, and I'm letting you know now, a wedding will not stop the two of you from fighting over finances. It sounds like you both handle money very differently, and she also seems as though she is eyeballing your cash as a way of supporting her lifestyle. If I were you, I would sort this out before getting married. And another person said, yep, she is seeing that potential pile of money and how she can spend it. You are stocking it away. This won't change when you get married. Dude, you need to take some introspection time before you get married. Also, you desperately need a prenup. And another user said, not the a-hole, most definitely see a lawyer and get a prenuptial agreement. If you split, she gets nothing from what you have now. Never give her anything from these rentals, as that could set a precedent for future disbursements. Keep all money from your rentals and other ventures separate. Don't put her on the deed of your residence. 3 more things. 1. Absolutely nail down who is paying what for the wedding and the honeymoon. And no, you don't pay the majority of it. Number 2. All wedding expenses must be paid before the wedding. If not, guess who will be on the hook for them? Number 3, and this is a big one, all of her credit card debt needs to be cleared post-haste. All future credit card debt is hers to pay off. Do not have any joint accounts. You might also get a copy of her credit report before you see the lawyer about the prenup. If she balks at any of this, you might want to reconsider the entire situation. And wow guys, Jesus, I gotta say that is some very solid advice, even though I haven't gotten married yet, but at least to me that sounds like really good advice. Update to the rental properties story. So the conversation did not happen until the weekend of the 14th of March. Life got in the way. It started fine but quickly went south and ended in a big fight that degenerated into a lot of petty crap slinging by the end. She accused me of not trusting her, fair, and I pointed out that her habits make it basically impossible to trust her with money anyway, probably not my proudest moment. But I did again make it clear in no uncertain terms that the properties are staying in the LLC and I won't sell them, and that the financial decisions regarding them would be mine alone. I may have also had a few choice words about the princess for a day wedding she wanted. After a couple of weeks of avoiding each other and not talking and me sleeping in the basement of the townhouse, I said I wanted to hit the pause button and leave for a while. She was upset but didn't say much. I loaded up my things and went to my parents' house and told them what happened. They told me I could stay as long as I needed. Somewhere near the end of April, I got a call from her dad out of the blue, what the hell, demanding to know what was going on and why I had broken things off. I tried to explain what had been going on, but he was the angry dad of an upset young woman and I don't think much got through. That call ended with him calling me a scumbag and hanging up on me. I've only had a few properly long-term relationships and in my lifetime, but that is the first time I've had an angry father yell at me about one. There's been no contact since. I am sad that just over 4 years of my life with someone went up in smoke like this, but that is the way she goes, I guess. My parents did not seem very surprised when I showed up, so maybe I really was the last one to know what was going on, like so many Redditors were pointing out. For some good news, and also the thing that reminded me to update my Reddit post, is that yesterday I bought another house, one for me to live in. A tiny little brick post-war brick ranch in an old subdivision about 20 minutes from my rentals. It needs work, but I am looking forward to having a project to take my mind off things. It is going to be strange living on my own again, but I think I will manage. And Ripe Stars, would you agree if I say that this guy probably dodged a little bullet? Honestly, he seems to be very good with his finances, and if you have a fiancé like that, whether it is a guy or a girl, some things are just not compatible, especially when it comes to finances. I think in general it is very difficult to be together with someone who is spending money all the time, whereas you are the one who is saving. Let me know your opinion about this in the comments. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.